Hey guys, we're back.
Like with art, we have like such a responsibility to kind of provide that feeling to other people through whatever kind of art that you do. So what would you say as far as like how beauty and makeup and fashion and all that kind of helps speak to one's mental health? Like, is that something that you thought about, or is it something that naturally occurs because of how they feel after getting their makeup done? Like, what would you say?
Well, it's instant gratification after a person gets their makeup done and they feel beautiful and they look at themselves and they're ready to tackle any occasion whatever occasion that they're going to. So it is that instant boost of confidence that you're literally giving them in that moment to handle whatever event that they're gonna face. But as far as the mental health aspect of it, I think it can go both ways. I think that the beauty industry and fashion, it can be intimidating. It can be, well, if I don't have this or I don't look like this, then I don't matter. So I love how the beauty industry has changed. I think of the Dove commercial, like when they show you all different types of women, and it's beautiful because it's like, this is what the world is. It is all different types of women, and they are all beautiful in their own way. So I'm appreciating that part of it, as how the beauty industry is trying to go towards that direction of individuality. Anyone can look good, because it's true. Anyone can look good. There's no excuse. We come in different shapes and sizes. So I'm appreciating that part of it, and I think that does make people feel happier when it comes to mental health. It's like, well, I can control what I look like based on my preferences for beauty, and it's okay.
That sounds very powerful, to give somebody that like confidence. Just you doing makeup. Would you say that's all it is to it?
No. The business of makeup has evolved. I mean, social media changed the game. So the amount of time and effort and work that goes into becoming a makeup artist is completely different than it was 5 years ago. The time that it takes to work your social media platform, to be consistent on all those other platforms that I talked about, to constantly post, to constantly create. You're constantly creating. All those things impose demands, right? Demands of your time, money, energy. So you're like running a full operational business. Like, I am the person responding to emails. I am the person booking. I am the person designing my contracts, designing all the brand work that I need to design in order to put out there. So you're doing so many things that you're basically wearing different types of hats, and you're running a full operational business. It's no longer just you go to Mac and work there a couple of hours, and I'm not knocking that, but it's not just that. It's more that goes into it, and consistency. I mean, the C word is key.
Yeah.
Like, being consistent.
So would you bring more people on board as you continue to grow and evolve? Like, because you say you wear so many different hats, would you is there potential to hire someone to kind of take off some of the
Well, right now I kind of do. Sometimes, depending on the job, like if I'm doing weddings, I have to hire a second makeup artist, so I have to hire an assistant. So depending on the scale of the job, yes. I think, like I said, I talked about this area, the DMV. It's not New York, it's not LA. So you are kind of limited in your capacity as far as what kind of income are you planning to bring in from makeup, unless you change what you're giving, or you change the service that you're providing. Like, I know there's some makeup artists that offer online classes where you can learn under them and then become certified. How are you planning to extend and build your business in order to bring in the income that you want and still continue your passion? So there's room for growth, but you do have to think different and critical to the things that you are already doing to get to the goal that you really want to get to.
That makes sense. And I know a lot of times when we talk to other artists on here, we ask them, like, once you do kind of monetize your love, like, does that change how you look at it any kind of way?
Yeah, I think it can. I think sometimes people, they start off their business and it's their baby and it's their passion, but all these other things compete for their time, and it gets in its way, and then the politics, and then, the finances, and it can get overwhelming, and you can lose the joy for the essence of what you do. But I think what makes makeup so interesting for me and why I think I will never lose it is that there's no makeup artist that can say I have arrived. Like, I am the makeup artist. I know everything. I can do any face. I can do any trend. I can do any style. I can contour. Yes, maybe you're really good at doing those things, but there's more. And there's always more room for growth. It's like you're never gonna stop learning. And I think that's what attracted me to being a makeup artist. Because I never felt like I was really an artist. Actually, I felt like I was an artist probably 2 years ago. I said, oh, I am an artist.
Like, how would you describe your sense of style when doing makeup looks?
When it comes to makeup looks, on myself or my clients?
Both.
So on my clients, I listen to what the client wants. Like, if the client comes to me and it's a person who doesn't even wear makeup every day, like, no foundation, no anything, I am not going to put layers and layers of heavy makeup on their face. I am going to listen to the client. I'm going to apply the makeup professionally, but I'm going to apply it in a way, in a technique that makes sure that it looks light, it feels light, if they feel refreshed, and they still look like themselves. So I think that's key. So I'm always going to listen to the client first. I think with me, my preference is glam, as I mentioned. Like, I love the glitter, I love the lashes, I love the gold, I love the bold lips. I tend to go more in that direction for myself. And that also falls into my style as well when it comes to fashion.
Nice. So when you work with clients, getting more onto that aspect, I know for me, when I have my clients and commission me to do a portrait of them or the grandmother or the auntie, sometimes it can be a little bit more difficult because I'm now like doing something that they want me to do versus me doing what I want to do. How does that translate with being a makeup artist? Like, when you have your clients, you can't really do your style on them because you kind of have to tailor it to what they want. How does that make you feel, and what kind of experiences have you had with that?
It can limit your creativity, but I also think that there's a skill in perfecting what your client is asking you to do, right? So if the client is asking you to do something that limits your creative scope, if you break down the process of it, even within, if someone's saying they want a natural look, I want a very natural makeup look, the creativity comes in, well, how can I make layers of makeup look natural? How can I perfect that? How can I perfect the natural look? You still gotta be creative to do that. And the technique that comes with it is a technique. You gotta learn that. So even though you're limited in what you prefer to do, it's all about your mindset, creating based on what you have to do. And then look at it as a learning experience. You know, you're going to get those type of clients. So how do you handle those type of clients? It should be a consistent process so that when the next client comes asking for the same thing, it's like, oh, I know what they want. And you give it to them because their money is still green.
Let's get it back. Right?
So, like, you don't want any foundation? Great.
Oh, so people literally ask for no foundation?
Yes.
That is
yes, they do. I've had people say no lashes. I've had people say no foundation. Nude lips. I mean, people want basic, natural things, and you have to deliver. Like, it kind of annoys me
when someone ever turned down a client based on what they're looking for, and you're like, there's no point of me doing your face.
No, I've never done that. I've always listened to the client. Like when I mentioned, I'm really big on customer service. I do recommend professionally my opinion, and then sometimes we meet halfway. Okay. So if the client is saying, I don't want anything on my eyes, I just want a soft lip, I'll say, well, maybe we could do something a little more on your eyes since your lip is not going to stand out. Or maybe if we do a bold lip, then yeah, let's do something subtle on the eyes. Something has to stand out, and then obviously you don't want it to compete anyway. So I do recommend my professional expertise and try to marry it with what they want.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah. And that's pretty successful.
Yeah, so far. I mean, I haven't gotten any complaints.
No, that makes sense. Oh, wow, you have 5 stars on Google. And all this.
I guess so. Yeah.
That's really cool. So, what I wanted to talk about too, because for me, like, I'm a huge advocate that